Hello, Reds. Welcome to Anfield Road TV. Me and Kev from the Kitmen, and it's gone old school, really. If you're a fan, well, you've watched Anfield Road. We started off doing late night podcasts in the very early days, anyway. Yeah, but Kev, it's been a bit of a mad one today, hasn't it, mate? In relation to Jordan
Nuts.
Henderson. Yeah.
Nuts. I was waxing lyrical about him, hoping that he'd stay and maybe we'd make the money off of Thiago. But I mean, if they're paying 700k a week for Jordan Henderson, you know, it'd probably go for a low. Well, Liverpool would still want to get a fee for him. It would not surprise me if he goes for 40 million. They don't want to pay too much, but it wouldn't surprise me. I think Liverpool will try and get the Lavia money for Henderson.
Yeah. Will be interesting, mate. We've got a lot to unpack this evening. There's tonight's episode. Obviously, I have dropped DaveOCKOP's article. If you haven't seen it or if you haven't been on social media tonight, the link is in the description. I will pop it in the chat here as we go because that's what we will be reading off anyway. So you can read as we are progressing this evening as well. Chat, we'll definitely check it out. Follow them on the socials as well. But yeah, Kev, we've had a couple of journalists really today, Kev, that have said a lot of stuff very differently. And I think what today has indicated is a lot does happen within a 24-hour period in relation to players. Players can change their mind or whatnot anyway, mate. But it's a bit of a mad one, mate, isn't it? Before we get straight into it, just talk us through what you've.
What I've done is I put this up on my page. So we did. I said this is nuts. If Hendo makes his move to the Saudi league, then this will be the top 5 earners in the world at the moment. Right? Cristiano Ronaldo is on 3.4 million per week. Kylian Mbappe 1.6 million. It's nuts money, lads. Lionel Messi 1 million per week. Neymar 950k per week. And Jordan Henderson will be on 750k per week, or 700k per week. Now, the difference between all of those, and that's your gross earnings, is that when you look at Hendo's stats here, pre-tax, because he's getting taxed in England, so he was making let's say it's just under 7.3 million per year, right? So that was at week, it was 140,000 per week. You take his tax off of that. What's the tax rate in England? About 40%, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, you're looking at maybe. That's like coming out with 85 to 90k per week, net. So, I mean, so that was like 20 grand a day. Now he's going to come out with no tax. He's going to make would you just call it a spade, 100,000 per day, is it? Is that what I'm looking at? 100,000 pounds per day. So 700,000 pounds per week. It's nuts. And, per year, it's tax-free 36.4 million. And I say, bravo, Hendo. You know, you've earned your stripes. 12 years of struggling away, getting ridiculed left, right, and centre at Liverpool, lifting every bloody trophy. But, yeah, look, dude, if this is happening, make sure Liverpool get the right fee. Grant Henderson get these fee, he deserves it. But Liverpool need to get the right fee now to fund Lavia. Simple as.
Absolutely mad, in all honesty, and those figures, mate, as we'll read off what DaveOCKOP said and bring it to you anyway. But it's absolutely mental, mate. I look at those figures, and we spoke about it this morning. At the end of the day, he's only a human, really, and there's no way that he doesn't actually not accept that. If it is the reported £700,000 a week, that is ridiculous, in all honesty, and at the end of the day, for me, he deserves it.
yeah, it's true. But the other aspect from that as well is that you're going to have Jordan Henderson going into the Saudi league, who at the same time, even if he can ease off, he'll get the rest of his coaching stuff done under Steven Gerrard. Eventually, after these 2 years there, he's going to take over one of the teams in that league. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at elder statesmen players like this coming in that have aspirations to maybe get into coaching. And he's either going to be an understudy under Gerrard if Gerrard is still there after the 2 years, or he's going to take over, and it just leads to different avenues for Jordan as well, you know. And look, he gets his family a lovely holiday in Saudi Arabia for the next few years, enjoying the sun and move all the family out there, leave him earn the bobs that they do. Come home, never worry about money for the rest of his life again. Because always the top earners and a lot of earners in the Premier League, they're sorted for life anyway. But this takes away all absolute struggle for the rest of his life. Whether he gets taxed when he brings it back into the country, I don't know. But I don't think so because it's earned outside the country. So we'll see. But this is great for Jordan. It'll be great for Liverpool if it comes about. I'll miss him. I was hoping he'd stay. But yeah.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, chat. Big up to Redbeards. We'll get through all your comments. Let us know your reaction because it has gone up, down all today, really. And I think we'll more or less get the eventual answer. I think when we wake up tomorrow morning, it'll be, of course, absolutely everywhere, in all honesty. But Hendo, as Redbeard said there, will bag 2.8 million a month if he does go. Hard to turn that down anyway, which is crazy money. Big up there, Jordan, as well. Big up there, matey. Big up there, Jordan, as well. Saudis have taken over golf. Football is next, as they have limited funds. No matter how vicious anyone is, everyone has a price. Big bucks talk the loudest, in my opinion. Yeah, it's crazy what they've done with the golf, mate. You look at the boxing as well, though, Kev. How that is very much being revolutionized in terms of a lot of the big fights, even the UFC as well. And Redbeard's true there, mate. There's only so much football can do to really govern itself, but at the end of the day, whoever's got the most amount of money, UEFA will, of course, massively follow suit and go where all the majority of the money has. It has always been that case and notion, really. Oh, I think you're on mute there, lad.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Money always talks. Look at what's his name, the Irish golfer,
Rory
McIlroy, that wouldn't go with the Live Golf League, and he was calling everybody sellouts to the whole lot. And now his own setup is after stabbing him in the back and just completely going against all of his words and his honor status and all of that, and then just gone and joined Live Golf anyway. So it's nuts, man. It's just, it puts egg on his face and things like that. Money talks. Whoever has it is going to control the majority of sports and things like that. Maybe the governing bodies need to put sanctions on some of these things, but if it's done the right way, who cares? We've had our influx of, no offense to anybody who's in the chat that's American, but we've had our influx of American ideologies coming into the Premier League, and none of them have been good. None of them have worked. The idea of the Super League in the Americanisms, and it was the only problem with the Super League. Everything else was great about the Super League. Make it more spaced out games, spread out the league a bit longer. Also, like 3 times the money going to grassroots football. Anybody below the Premier League status teams, all of this kind of stuff was great. It was just this no relegation crap that was horrible, just elitist bullshit, as I call it. And that was the problem there. But you've your Bowleys coming in now. You've things happening at Aston Villa that were a problem for a while. Our own issues with the previous owners. This has been an influx of people that just don't care about the club, but just see it as a money maker. And then there's these guys that are using it as their toys, and they just want to fund it. And sometimes you look at it and kind of go, it is bad because it's unfair, but if you take the Saudi leagues thing, the money is spread evenly through the league with all that kind of money. So maybe it'd be a good kind of thing to have it here a bit like that, and then earn your own money on top of it. So yeah, we'd see. Yeah.
It's the thing though, like the Premier League's been on very much its high horse for the last 20 years, to say really, mate. Like the Premier League has been massively awashed, and let's take for example other leagues in Europe, mate. Obviously probably taking example out the La Liga really, because it's hugely dominated by Real and Barca. Well, it used to be in European football, but if you think about it, imagine being a French league, mate, or like the Dutch league. I think a lot of the top team, do you anticipate, for me, the way I look at it, other leagues around Europe would be loving it. The fact if the Premier League do start losing much bigger stars than Jordan Henderson, there's nothing really the Premier League clubs can do, in all honesty, mate.
It'll be a shame for it. The main thing that it's a shame for is the people that go to the matches and the people that go in, the people that live locally and like that's when you see the effect on the detriment on a city is when you take away their massive form of income. Because if you take away their top players and the top earners and they keep jumping ship to these leagues, then the quality of the league goes down, everything goes down, the money influx into the city, into every city or every town that's involved in football drops dramatically, and then it just becomes a pay-as-you-go spectator sport over in a different country. That's the only way to watch the biggest stars would be like you see these sports of the future where it's all in these velodromes with 6 pitches going on at the same time and all of these playing at once and and different cameras everywhere. It's just you don't want it to get to that. It's great having the money influx and all of that, but keep it as it is. It is a working man's sport, and it's great to have the influx of money, but don't change it. Don't change it to suit your own lack of compassion or whatnot. It's just or just your own toy. If you're going to use it as a toy, please don't ruin the sport. For me, I would beg in a way to not have the sport ruined. If it was me, asking the questions, leave it as it is. Fund it if you want. Get involved in it. Stay in the background. Owners should never be heard or seen.
Yeah, none of this Todd Bowley nonsense coming into the changing round at halftime. But let's get to everyone's chat comments as well this evening. As you can see, DaveOCKOP at 10:57. Just this night anyway. Obviously, we just turned midnight anyway. But do you think we will get Lavia? I'm super excited about McAllister and Szoboszlai and You Never Walk Alone. Big up there. I'm Simon. And I'll bring up this tweet anyway that we've seen this evening off the back of the news by Sacha Tavolieri. Being told Liverpool FC waiting on Jordan Henderson's final word about Al Ettifaq before sending first bid to Romeo Lavia. The Belgian player talked to Jurgen Klopp and wants to play for the Reds. Reds truly believe he is definitely a big prospect for the future and was waiting for making space in the midfield in order to make a step forward. Personal terms, not a problem anymore. More news to follow. LFC. Things like this, Kev, they can quickly develop, as we've seen in the past. I think a move like this for Liverpool, in terms of us being the selling club, regardless of any other potential fee coming in for Henderson, whether it might be a fair bit of money, fair less than a bit of money. Would you anticipate Liverpool have already got this deal lined up for Lavia or another player coming in?
Oh, I think like pretty much personal terms would be done at this stage. If they were talking to him, Lavia would have informed them what they want, whether they were allowed to talk to him or not. But everybody, remember the big good old days. I keep mentioning this about tapping up players, and you weren't allowed even to talk to a player or do anything like that. I know everybody talks now with the change of rule sets and stuff like that. Everybody can talk to a player. It always just comes down to the club, what happens at the end of the day. So yeah, look, I think the process will be fairly smooth for Lavia. He'll probably earn 3 times the amount of money that he's on at Southampton, plus bonuses, and and it'll just be down to Southampton. Southampton have already said we can either buy him now, what they will get, what City will pay for him next year if they go in for him, or we have to convince Southampton that what if City don't come in from next year? What if Rodri's still their guy? What if they don't want to buy him back? What if they have too many players, or they give? What if the outcome from the Liverpool need to frighten Southampton that way? What if the outcome from all of these investigations come about and City get a ban regardless of contract, and then everything becomes null and void, and then you're going to have to sell him for pennies? So that's the route that Liverpool should be taking. This we're saying, look, we give you 40 million now, the same one you get for from City next year. So do it. So yeah, I know the tapping up is technically league as well, Brian. I know, but it's just everybody just does it now. Nobody cares. Yeah. But yeah, look, I'd say if Henderson is going, get the money for Henderson, put it on Lavia, and that's it. The same amount of money. If they've already spoke to Southampton, how much it's going to cost? Ask for the 40, 50 million for Henderson. If they're paying him 700k a week and 36 million a year, surely they can pay off a signing fee, because Liverpool still own his contract. So they need to get to sign our captain. Need to pay the bobs. Simple as.
Yeah, Before we progress chat, make sure you get those likes up, everyone. Massively helps out, as you can see. YouTube not bloody doing its job, sending out the notifications. So please do drop a like on the video as well. Everyone massively helps. Jack, no worries, Nigel. You're very welcome, miss. Massive thank you for being here. Oh, I was obviously going to remove the message. Bobby, Gerard, Henderson, Brian, thanks for making me a mod. All good, mate. Struggling on a 7 million a year, Brian. Crazy money, crazy money anyway. Yeah, it's modern as Brian. I think all of us, we get disenchanted every single year we watch football. That's the sad reality, Kevin. In it when you the deeper and the longer, especially the Premier League and the modern day footballers progress, it's going to get even more difficult to really comprehend the ever changing climate of football. Oh, Kev's on mute again.
I did it again. I was being nice because I was having a cough for myself because it's late at night, and you're probably the same, Jack. You're all dry molded as well. We don't usually do shows this late, lads, but it's just big news. This is the captain of Liverpool leaving. But look, yeah, it's better than him retiring. It's better than him going to the MSL or the MLS, whatever it's called, the MLS. And Saudi League has become pretty much the new MLS, and only flair players are really going to go to the American League now if they're they want to live in the States. So I know it's these 4 millionaires. It's this is the way it's going to go. And if the Saudi League are giving these kind of players an out for the end of their career instead of there was a lot of time. Look at the likes of Dean Windass, Gary Speed. These kind of guys that have had struggles after leaving football, couldn't handle the life without football, anything like that, couldn't make the money, didn't make the money then, regretted it when they left, and then they said, what have I got to show for all those years playing football? Should have asked for more money, should have done this, should have done that. Now, Jordan Henderson was already on big money, but at least with these kind of outs, even your average Premier League player can see a light at the end of the tunnel when he's past 32 years of age, and it's probably a league that you could go to. If the Saudi League was to turn into a Legends League, I'd not be against that. You used to have the Legends League, and if that turned into like some sort of place where older Premier League stars or La Liga stars or whatever went to play in a league there, and it developed younger players that are in that country to come over and play in the other leagues, and there was like a deal done that way with big money, there'd be nothing wrong with that. You're talking about not maybe summer tournament. You're talking about it's a different type of summer over there. We should be talking like different styles of tournaments, like summer tournaments in the the summer for Legends games and stuff like that. Turn into a Legends League type thing. We'll see how it goes. There's benefits and then there's againsts. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's going to be mad. It's so intriguing, really, mate, isn't it? And chat in terms of the development of this league going forward. Like most top players, they are millionaires a few times over, so they'll never have to struggle ever. But it's as Kev alluded to with the post at the top of the show, like it's ridiculous. And obviously, DaveOCKOP alluding to like the reported fee in relation to 700k. It's beyond unprecedented, really. It's for a 33-year-old as well, Kev.
Yeah,
you've just got to take into account his age as well.
Yeah.
Like, fair enough, if Hendo was 26, 27, he might have probably not accepted it. But I think anyone in their own mind frame, really, when you think about it, that's a crazy, unprecedented fee for a player at the age of 33 years old. But it just goes to show, if it is true, how much Steven Gerrard wants him part of his plan, really, mate.
He knows Henderson's attitude. I mean, he's been nothing but the model captain for Liverpool. I mean, you couldn't ask for anybody else better to go to the Saudi League under Steven Gerrard and lead a team and ignite a league and create passion and create competition with other stars that are going to other teams there and even within that squad as well. And as I said before, he could end up becoming an understudy to Gerrard, assistant manager as he goes along, still earning money. And it's the type of place, if he signs a 3-year contract or something like that, that 2 of his years he can go and put a bet on a horse at 10-1 and become a billionaire. It's just with his wages, that's just the way it is. It's nuts. Like, so, but look, fair dues. If it gives an out for aging players who still have something to give, and and are not willing to stay within the Premier League and can earn a pretty penny doing it and become pretty much superstars by going to a different league. Fair dukes, man. They deserve the plaudits. They deserve the money. They've earned their keep, and nobody else, I'd say more so in the Premier League, has earned his keep more than Jordan Henderson. 12 years at the club, lifting every possible trophy, major trophy, I should say. I'm not saying I mean, the Europa League is a major trophy as well, but you want the Champions League first. So look, yeah.
How much did you say before Ronaldo was on, mate?
1 point. Can we see? Oh, bad one might go here.
Was it on that?
Yeah, it's on the graph there. So Ronaldo is on 3.4 million per week or something. That's nuts. Per week.
That is ridiculous.
Wow.
That is astronomical. Like,
yeah. Even at PSG, Kylian Mbappe is at 1.6.
Like, and people think he can come to Liverpool. That is absolutely bonkers, mate. Jack, keep on getting your thoughts in anyway. Hendo only here for leadership now, getting him out. Dead baller, good captain as well. Coutinho probably will go there. Will be interesting, mate. Like, is he still? Where is he? Is he at Villa? I think he's still at Villa, isn't he? Or like,
wasn't he only on loan there?
I don't even know. Okay, it's gonna be mad anyway. Meant to be in bed.
Is he back in Barcelona?
No, he won't be back at Barca. No, I think he's at Villa. I think they bought him with Stevie, didn't they? Yeah. Meant to be in bed, but 700k a week has got me away. Big up there, Scouser. Really appreciate you tuning in, mate. You're absolute bloody legends. Yeah, Scouse, what do you think about this? Tapping up is technically illegal. Absolute joke. Everyone has always done it. Look, Brian and Kev, Fergie was the biggest.
Oh, yeah.
We've made it.
Yeah. Anybody talking about tapping up, just go and ask that dude, Yeah. Jesus, he anytime anytime a sniff of a good player was around the place and you couldn't talk to him, you'd hear the tap shoes of Fergie kind of just showing up next to him. All right, pal. All right, pal.
Do you want a bit of whiskey, lads?
How you doing? All right, pal.
How many chewies do you reckon he went through in terms of his
career? I don't know. I'm fully like it was a shame what happened to him with the thing on the brain and stuff like that. But I'm fully convinced if you use your jaw that much throughout your life, something's breaking back here in the back of your head somewhere as well. Like, man, that's some savage amount of chewing gums he's going through. Because you drink too much whiskeys in your life and your liver packs in, you eat too much chewing gums and something's going to break back here. It's just going to happen. So,
the pent up anger as well. Like, obviously the arguments he had, but what a legendary manager and what a fella anyway. Even though he managed down the road, but and people still have him ahead of him. Ridiculous. Never. I'm guessing Hendo will lose. That's a whole nother debate for probably bigger people, more experience and more with bigger platforms, really, mate. As we spoke about, I think me and Kevin on Doug's stream. I was on Doug's stream before. Like, it will be interesting to see how if he does move over there, like how he reacts to it. But as we spoke about it, leave it up to the Endo to very much answer that. Tomorrow will be a crazy day for us as well. Definitely, mate. We'll probably have another 3-4 articles coming out, won't we? Ronaldo is the main man there. Endo will be tier 2, but it's going to be crazy. Trent is going to be absolutely key moving forward. I'd move into central mid captain, controlling the game. It's very much what we talked about before with Kevin, the boys, Nigel. But
it's going to give Ramsey a chance to push on. I want to see what he can, because he was brilliant in the Scottish League before he came down. He's a real talent. And if he's got half the drive and heart that Andy Robertson has when he first came to us, he'll be a good baller for us. And if that gives a chance for Trent to move into the right hand side of that box in the midfield, then I'll take that all day, because that gives us Szoboszlai, Trent in there, a Lavia rotating with a Fabinho in there, and it gives Ramsey a chance as well if he was to play in in a 4, not a 4-box-4, but a 4-box-3, but a 4-4-2, I should say, but not a 3-box-3. And but if it does give him the chance, man, I'd like to see the young fellas start to get used, especially in the cups. I want to see Ramsey in the cup. I want to see Bajcetic in the cup. I want to see Curtis Jones in the cup and a bit more in the league. We're going to be using McAllister an awful lot. But when the games we're going to be stuck and people start to understand how we play, we're going to need these guys to come in and change the game for us. So it's not going to happen anymore with the Thiagos and Hendersons. Thiago will have 2 fantastic games in the season. He'll do a couple of flair passes in the game. We'll be like, oh, wow, brilliant. And I'm at that point that, okay, if Henderson's gone now, just get rid of them all. Just move on all the older players that are not going to get the requirement there and give it and just bring down the level of the age group of the team and bring in top quality talent. That's around. Just do it. Just if you're going to make a change and it's happening this much, and Henderson is gone, that's your captain. That's Milner gone. Ox and Naby were still there a long time. If Thiago is probably the only injury prone besides Matip that's left in the team, if you would say injury prone player. And if that's the case, then just work them all out and just replace them. I that's what I want done. It's the end of an era with Hendo. It's the end of, I'll feel it because I was one of his biggest critics back in 2012-13.
I was as well, mate.
I hated the way he always passed back rows. He was over trying too much. But then, Stevie took him under his wing and created a fantastic captain, a fantastic attitude, which he probably already had. He just grew it a bit more. And for me, Henderson is Liverpool legend. No, I said it today when I was on Doug's podcast, guys. Don't say Henderson, great player, but don't even put the but in there. Just say Henderson, great Liverpool captain, Liverpool legend. Good luck. And that's it. Don't say anything else. All right?
And I'm open, and I know for a fact, mates, I know there'll be so many hundreds of thousands of Liverpool. If it did get announced tomorrow that Liverpool released statements and that he was leaving, I tell you that now, there'll be thousands upon thousands greeting them or sending them off. Even if he done hold like a press conference and it got announced that he'd be saying his goodbyes before the beginning of the season, there will be potentially hundreds of thousands. That's how special he is for me and you, Kev, and every Liverpool fan around the world as well. This fella has been so instrumental to helping Liverpool guiding us to all these trophies as well, and he deserves a proper fitting send off if he was to go as well.
Yeah, he does. There's nobody else in the team that deserves that much praise either. He played everywhere. We said it. We were only talking about it last week, and I've been saying it for years and years and years. If Henderson didn't get sent off by tackling David Villa that time in the City game, we would have won that league. In 2014. So for me, legend. There's been nobody else that's tried to work as hard for the team. There's nobody else that understood Klopp's input on the team. There's nobody else that helped him integrate it. He was, he's a legend. So if he goes, I thank him and I let him go. And I say everybody else do the same.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, mate. Look at that board or the players leaving, mate. Yeah. You've got Mane gone, Hendo potentially leaving. There has been rumours of Fabinho over the last 6 months. Bobby's gone. Thiago probably looks like he'll be going. If I go a bit up there, if I don't break my camera. And there's Lucho and a couple of other players. So sad times, mate. But as you just alluded to there, spot on. Everything has to end. Players, sadly, and the legs do go, or they want to go and reach greater heights. How do you feel about Gerrard and Chalers now? How did you feel about Gerrard leaving at that time, really?
Broke my heart. It's hard. It's hard for players when they leave, man. We're grown ass men and we're passionate about a football club, and 20,000 things could happen to you out on the street, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid. But then somebody who's given you so much joy, almost like a family member, leaves the club, man. You well up, you get tears in your eyes, you feel it, you get a tug in your chest. We're grown men, but I admit it. I saw Bobby doing a man of the tear coming down my face. I did, all this kind of stuff. These guys have just given us some of the best years in watching Liverpool than you're ever likely to see. The next guard, the old guard is when we were saying transitioning, we were hoping there was a transition season, but there's a definite transition happening. It is like there's 2 months left in this, less than 2 months left in this window, lads. We in for a shock for more leaving than what we expected, because we thought we'd get 1 or 2 players over the line and 4 would leave. I'm thinking there's more, man.
Yes, well, that's segued really perfectly into that, mate. So Connor said, do we think we bring 2 midfielders in? As you said there, Kev, and chat, I think Liverpool as a club probably potentially. You think about the wages as well that Liverpool's, we spoke about this, Kev, before we come on here, in excess of like 50 plus million that Liverpool would have saved in the 2023-24 season. And that's obviously, if you do get on top of that, like a bit of fee from certain players here and there, it's Liverpool have saved, and this is where we need to spend, miss. Like, you think about it, the money that we've not obviously added onto the wage bill with Naby and Ox and all that, them leaving Bobby. I think Hendo's on quite a sizable fee. And then potentially Thiago as well. But as we spoke about at the top of the show in relation to Trent, he's going to be getting a new big bumper contract by the looks of it. How much would you say? How much would you anticipate Trent would potentially get, Kev, or chat? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below on this new deal.
Yeah, I mean, probably around 200k. Yeah, what's he on now? About 120, something like that. Is he on even less than that? 110? 120?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Oh no, about 140, I think. And yeah, maybe 220. But for me, I'll say it again, love Thiago, but 200k a week doesn't justify him playing 15 games maximum a season. It just doesn't justify it anymore to me. He's been here now for the 3 seasons. He's been missing pretty much for a whole season and a half out of that. So why not just, if we're going to be, as I said, if we're going to be, culling the team and getting rid of Hendo, then why not do it to Thiago as well? Bring on your Bajcetic, bring on your Curtis Jones, give him more game time, bring in your Lavias, take all of this cash and then go and splash it on somebody bigger. Battle City for a Gavardiol. Who's to say we can't? If we could spend 64 million rising to 100 on Darwin Núñez, we can pay the 80 million for Gavardiol. And, release 50 million out of that on Thiago's wages. And so I'm always trying to be realistic, lads, but I'm saying if we are getting rid of some of our biggest people in the dressing room, influences in the dressing room, then do it, just do it all together and just let the old guard be the guys that are ready to play for the next 5 seasons or so. So, well, let's say Salah and them could probably play for 3 more seasons at top league. 2. If you're looking at that in the mid-30s.
Salah's like, he's a freak of nature, really, in terms of his physical fitness, really. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Did Ramsey go on loan? I didn't realize.
Supposedly, by the looks of it,
did he?
Yeah.
I just seen him in the first days inside Anfield, didn't I?
Let's keep on there. But big up there, the Anfield Lark. Big up, matey. Thank you for popping in, mates. I do appreciate everyone. Make sure you are smashing that like button. Massively helps out the stream as well. Really would be the end of the year if Hendo leaves. Also, the other question is, where does this end? How many other players will start to leak from Europe to the Plastic League as well? More or less echoing what Kev's just said there, mate, but you're spot on there, mate. It's where does it end, Robbie? The classic Arsenal on TV.
Maybe if the league come in and start putting clauses into contracts, the only way this is going to work is that a player would have to be over the age of 29 or 30 as part of a Premier League output to leave on a contract from a Premier League club directly to the Saudi League. Is the only way that going, or pay a penalty, or the Saudi League would have to pay a penalty. So they can add in all of these sanctions all they like, but it's the only way you're going to stop players leaving and that looking for that kind of money. Because as I said, I would rather the Premier League work, if it's going to happen, I'd rather that the Premier League work with the Saudi League in this way, where they say, right, you can have players over a certain age to come in and talk to us or talk to the clubs about signing. And, we'll just sanction it to make sure it's okay to happen. But you are not coming in and taking our best players and just throwing money at it and then ruining the standard of the league because of it.
It just spot on, man. It opens up so much of a kind of worms really in relation to like the whole, as we said at the top, as I said, in relation to other leagues, thinking about the Premier League. Everyone outside the Premier League is laughing, like especially with a lot more of the bigger high profile and big up there, Gareth, mate. He's mentioned anyone worried about Salah will be following soon. Like he obviously they've already got Karim Benzema, who's probably one of the biggest profile players that has come into the league, and I think Salah would very much not follow suit, but I think he'd be. What do you say, Kev? He'd be their poster boy.
How long has Salah got left in his new contract?
Salah's contract is 2025, I think. Yeah, 2025.
2025. So you got the Europa League this year in 23-24, 24-25. That's not his last season. So maybe it's 25-26 maybe season. So if it is that, then the 25-26 season, Salah could be on his way to the Saudi League, before that season ends or the beginning of that season, if you're going to make money off him. But I could see Liverpool, if Salah's on top form this season, next season, and there's no sign of any dipping, Liverpool should be able to activate that, like an extra added on clause for the extra year or so, I don't know if that's anything, but hopefully they put that in there. Because Salah's money, and if he's going to leave, then it'd be a no-brainer to put that kind of money in a contract and say, look, we're going to activate this clause, but we're still going to sell you. And then that makes you your money off the Saudi League for Salah. So that's down the line. Salah's still winning the lactate tests. There's no sign of him slowing down yet. He just wasn't fed enough of the ball, and he was trapped out in the wing most of the last season. So, you can't expect him to do all the dancing from all the ways out in the wing, all the ways into the box, and then again in front of goal. Where his best played is right at the edge of the box, and let him do the couple of dances and then strike. That's what he is. He's very similar to Harvey Elliott in a way. If you look at, I know he's 20 leagues above him, but like they only have a 15-yard, unless he's running directly at goal up the middle of the park and the ball is over the top and he doesn't have to zigzag. Any player, nobody but Messi can zigzag like that up a pitch. Messi could do it to the whole team and then turn around and do it again. But Salah's a guy that does it over 20 yards and taps it into the top corner or slides it into the near post. So yeah, or if the ball's over the top of him, he's running straight towards goal. He's a whippet that way. So yeah, but he's still able to do it. He's winning the lactate test right now. Milner was winning the lactate test right up until the season or so ago. When he was so yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot to come from Salah. A lot.
Definitely, miss. In relation to everyone's mentioned, obviously the Super League as well. Brian Gerrard was the end. Xavi leaving was the worst. Oh yeah. I remember meeting him in town, like randomly. Not like saying hello and that, but I walked past him and everything. But there was like tons of people around him in Liverpool. It was very well. It was Liverpool anyway, but he's a handsome chap anyway. But he just had one of them, Kev and Shark, when a person has that aura, probably a bit like Jurgen Klopp if you bumped into him, or Steven Gerrard and everything. I met Carragher and Mackey's when I was about 10. And a bit of a mad one, but yeah, give me his autograph, which is absolute bloody legend. But yeah, he's average.
30, I've seen 28 games. I didn't say anything about 30 games. I think his most games he's played in a season is 28 or something. Yeah. So maybe it is that. I don't know where that average is, but I've only seen 28. But 50, yeah. Like what did he play for us last year? 15, 17? Less than 20, right? Yeah, it was less than 20, I'm sure of it. So it's not enough for 200k. I know he's injured again still before the season even starts, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're just about to kick off the season and Thiago won't be ready for the first 3 games because he's injured again. So I don't want to make the same mistakes again, lads. I'm just fed up. I don't care how good a player is. If he's just warming the bench, regardless of talent, let's just get rid of him now and just bring in somebody that can play.
Yeah, 100%. And O'Malley leaving, huge change as well, definitely. Yeah, Nigel. Hopefully that'll vastly improve their human rights.
Who's going to be the enforcer over Millie? Used to be the timekeeper and the guy who gave all the fines out, didn't he? Who's going to be that now?
Yeah, probably Svenzo or whatnot. But yeah, it's as we said, Nigel, in terms of what Henderson has done off the pitch, which is always good. You never know. It will be interesting. But it's only going to be good for the league in terms of football and perspective, really getting all these big high profile players anyway. The Premier Leagues need to put something in place to maintain the integrity of the status of the league. I don't know. Would we say the Premier League's ever had any integrity?
That's exactly what I said. Yeah, he's really spot on.
Yeah, 100%. Someone told me earlier I can't criticize, but yeah, it's impossible to win an argument, mate. Like, it's using iPhone because
that's like saying you can't have an argument with somebody in the rain, or you'll never be allowed to use an umbrella.
Yeah.
I don't mind them Egypts. Yeah.
But yeah, don't listen to them, lad. You know what's coming next to computer sideways? Yeah, it will happen. Sadly, mate. It was it's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, I would sit here with Kev and watch that inside Anfield, but obviously due to copyright, we won't be able to show it. So it's
we could do it, cut it out, do it. We just couldn't show any. We couldn't do the sound. But we'll have a look into it, and because I'd love to be able to watch highlights of. I watch a lot of people just doing reaction videos to football and stuff like that, and they just change the color palette and just stop it every 30 seconds. But I mean, we could start doing that and see if we can get away with it. But
yeah, we'll find out. Have a proper look into it. Mane next laugh for the Saudis. I think he's did we read before Kev?
And Spider. Am I going to Saudi? Am I? Just leave the family behind. See you later, lads. And the son.
Gary's selling, already, mate. So good. Get out. But yeah, I think he's buying I think they're very happy to at least even get 5-10 million. They're still so bitter about us selling them for that much, aren't they, Kev? Yeah. I don't know if you've seen someone report in the last couple of weeks, well, the back end of the season, when he got injured, they were absolutely fuming. Just going to quickly make sure that I've covered everything really here tonight, chat. We're going a bit longer, really, but I think we've more or less covered what we wanted. I'll quickly bring this up. This window, if it lets me. Is it that one? There we go. I'll have to move that. There we go. In relation to, obviously, understand Fabrizio Romano is now moving between Chelsea and Brighton. Two clubs, a discussion amount of fixed fee, 70 million, not enough. The deal will 100% include add-ons as well. Negotiations continue to find solution. Me and you spoke about it. Every Liverpool fan spoke about it. We know it's not in the realms of possibility, but I want to be in the realms of the what-ifs. Like, if Hendo does get officially announced that he's leaving tomorrow from the club sources and that, I want us to go all after this fella. Like,
would you?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'd rather give Gvardiol, to be honest with you. If I was spending 80 million on a player, I'd bring in Gvardiol because he can play right at centre. He can do a bit of DM. Big, massive Liverpool fan. I'd bring him in. We already have a Caicedo in Trent. Not as defensive unit, but he plays in a very similar area. Because as I said, Moises Caicedo doesn't sit in that number 68. He doesn't sit where Fabinho sits. He sits more to the right and he allowed McAllister more to the left. McAllister had to do a lot of work defensively in Brighton, but I don't think you'll see him having to do too much of it in Liverpool except for cover Fabinho, because Fabinho is really good, positionally wise when he gets somebody around him, and when he gets good players around him that are fit, that can help him out, because that's what I think left down Fabinho last season was just tiredness and a lack of cover. And but Caicedo, obviously if he was there and he was available, we'd take him. But I would rather give Gvardiol and Lavia if I was spending the money, rather than go for a Caicedo and then not bring in really anybody in for defense. So if you're going to spend the money, spend it right, because there's going to be 100 million for Caicedo.
What happens if we get 100 million off Fendo?
Then get Caicedo and Gvardiol. Get them both. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I would sell. I know, Gary, you were obsessed with Kone and Thuram, and I know you are, but they can see it there. But Kone and Thuram is a smokescreen for Szoboszlai. He's the same position, but not even half the player Szoboszlai is. And great player. I would have loved him as well at Liverpool, but he can't do what Szoboszlai does. And I wouldn't have that. Kone is injured now for up to 6 weeks. I can't see the move happening, and it looks like it could be a reoccurring injury, that type of injury. So Liverpool are looking at hence why Lavia has come into the fray, because we need somebody in that position. Kone and Thuram were going to be brought in for maybe less than 60 million, 70 million for the pair, and it was kind of just to fill the gaps that Ox and Naby left. I think McAllister was going to be in there, Trent and Fabinho anyway. So I would rather spend the money on a Lavia and somebody. If we're not getting Gavardiol out of any big money sales, then get David Hanko and Lavia, and I'd be happy with that.
I think
that'd be a good winner.
Kev's got shares in that fella.
I have. I think he's a great player. Like him, Lewis. What's your man's name? The fellow we're looking at tonight, Luis from Benfica. Yeah, he's brilliant. But yeah, look, these are the ilk of players because of what the stats read and how they play and their attitude within their team. They're the guys we should be looking at if we're not going to be competing with City for Gavardiols and stuff like that. Then, yeah.
I was going to say the final point that I wanted to quickly mention as well, Jack. Keep on getting comments in as well, lads. In terms of the offsetting, which would be interesting. The offsetting of obviously relinquishing an English squad in terms of homegrown. Like, if you do lose Hendo, obviously bringing Levi Caldwell.
I forgot about him.
Like for like, really, in terms of nationality, which would I think obviously Levi Caldwell being under 21 anyway. It would.
Jack, you've just blown my mind now there, because I completely forgot about the links with Caldwell for like 5 minutes because it's this late. And I was so worried. I was so into like what money can come this way and that way, because I'm not a transfer kind of guy. But that makes a lot of sense. If Hendo is going one way, that Lavia and Caldwell will come in, because we're going to need a minimum quota of that 8 for homegrown and for association.
Especially if you do bring Lavia in as well. I think both the youngsters would come under the category of homegrown talent, given obviously Levi was in the Chelsea academy. But I think you've got to think long term as well. They would eventually get older, and they would progress into that category really, where they would vacate those spots.
We got Trent by Chetic, Harvey Elliott maybe, and I forgot about Kelleher, but also we've got Curtis Jones. That would all be classed as coming through. Gomez would have been classed as coming through the academy really when he was brought in. If they played any time for the under-21s or anything like that over a period of time, and it would have been classed like that. And then association players, your Henderson, who else is there? Making me unfuzzy. How's it going? Yeah. Right. And your Hendersons are there. Your Andy Robertson. No, he didn't. He came down from Scotland. That class is within does it have to be within that league, or is it within the country, or within Great Britain? I haven't looked into that part, but I don't know if he's classed with Hull. Did he play any games in the youth system for Hull?
No,
even when he came down to Scotland, is it?
Scotland,
No, I know he came down from from Celtic onwards and down. But I'm just saying, did he do anything? Because it could still be classed if he's played a certain amount of games for the youth.
Stefan de Berg is back supposedly as well. He's the one that will fall into that category. So it will be interesting, guys. I think Lavia and Bacchetti could play as right back cover too. Yeah, it's options really, and even as we said before, it's been a long day for everyone really, and it's absolutely boiling. What formation will Klopp go with? Yeah, I think we more or less covered that before, Gary. Options are aplenty. One thing's 4-3-3 with Darwin just ahead of Gakpo. All the options, the better anyway. I think pre-season will shape the attack. Not sure any are guaranteed the start, other than probably Salah as well. Mate, I think we'll conclude here, mate.
I'd say. I mean, there's options there. On attack, you can go. 2-5-3 on attack if you're going that way, or you could do 2-3-2-3. That way, if you're on all-out attack, switch it back to a back 5 on defense with these guys coming in. So there's a lot of ways around, especially with Fabinho in there. He can play a right back as well. Remember, he started his career as a right back with Real Madrid and Monaco and all of that. So there's loads. everybody's going to get a chance in pre-season. Everybody's going to get a run out. We'll see what they're like. I just want to see a lot more. As much as I want to see the youths develop, I want to see a lot more cohesion between the new players and Nunez, because I think if we get Nunez, Salah, and Gakpo or Lucho firing, I think we're laughing. They had no service last season whatsoever. They had to create their own outcomes, and with these guys, Szoboszlai and McAllister, and Curtis Jones, laughing.
We'll win the quad next season, boys. All good. I quickly bring up this to conclude, everyone. Obviously, the reports this evening coming. The link to DaveOCKOP's article is in the description, so please do head over, get involved in that. Obviously, give him all your support. Exclusive El Etifak received news tonight that Jordan Henderson doesn't want to accept. It does want to. Bloody, I'm tired. It does want to accept their offer.
Yeah,
El Etifak are hopeful Liverpool will make it as smooth as possible for the captain to leave. Tani Perejo of Villarreal is an alternative if El Etifak do not close the Henderson deal as well. Bit of a mad one. And then Neil Jones this evening also. A decision expected soon for Henderson over his future. There's a serious chance he leaves Liverpool for Saudi Arabia as well. Kev, it's going to be disappointing, as we said this evening, mate, but time will tell. Chat would like to say a massive thank you this evening. Apologies, I haven't got this much energy. I can't really shout because it is quite late. What time is it? Yeah, 5 to 1 in the midnight. But losing all these great players that's been such an important part of our lives will make us love the existing players even more. And that's a great point to conclude there, Kevin, as you alluded to. These players have given us so much.
My bad. I think it decided to just overheat itself. Why not keep talking? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. No, I'd agree there, Nigel, mate. In relation to that, mate, like as Kev alluded to before, we've all cried. I know I cried my eyes out winning that Champions League. Like it's just being there, Kevin, with your mates or whatever you are, watching the Reds around the globe, especially for a player that is given so every last ounce of blood, sweat, and tears for a football club. Like
Brian nailed it on the head there.
Yeah, great clubs, who's great players as well. 100%. 100%. I think Kev wants to go to bed. I want to go to bed.
I'll go to bed. I'll go to bed in a minute. I know Jack is tired. I can tell Jack is looking at you kind of going, and now the slut is walking across the road.
And my speech has got any even. I'm tired when I'm not speaking like 1,000,000% anyway.
That's all right.
But yeah, now Anfield Lark, big up Brian, big up Nigel as well. Really do appreciate every single one. He's big up Gary as well in the chat this evening also. Absolute bloody legends, especially when YouTube's not bloody pushing out the notifications, which is very much a bummer. I don't think it likes the system doing like 3 videos a day.
I think I've been stuck on 483 likes on my YouTube channel for about 3 months. I don't think it's gone up at all or something. I'm not even too sure. I'm not doing watch-alongs either until the season starts, but still, I'm doing a lot of other shows and people just haven't gone over and said hello. So.
But that's right. It creates my channel, right? And I think all of us, doesn't matter who's in the chat. Well, it does. Like, really appreciate every single one of you. But even if, as it has been quite a small stream tonight, 10 years, 15 years of he's in. But that's what it's all about, just chilling and whatever you are all doing tomorrow, everyone. Well, today, technically. I'll go out, smash it. If you're going to work, have a lovely rest of your evening or morning, wherever you are watching around the globe. But as I said, the link is in the description. Check out DaveOCKOP's full story on the article. Looks like reported 700k a week for our Jordan Henderson. Go ahead, son. If it is the case, go and get that money. You fully do deserve it. But Kev, massive thank you, mate. Everyone.
No problem, lad.
See you later. And you never. Well, hello.